Hey lovelies. So I am here today because I mentioned before that I was going to come back and talk about my experience with having a myomectomy. For those of you who are new around here, I had fibroid removal surgery in July. It is the end of August, so it's been about 5.5 or so weeks since my surgery, and so I just wanted to come on here, as I shared before, and just share in case somebody needs it. When I found out that I had to have fibroid removal surgery, it was either that or a hysterectomy so that I could have some relief. It was in March, and so then there was about 3 to 4 months between when it was decided that I would have surgery and when I knew like the date of my surgery would come. Which means I did a lot of reading. I was like researching, I was Googling, I was looking up all kind of stuff. And the information I found was helpful, but if I'm being honest, there were some things that I wish I had known about the recovery process after a myomectomy that I just didn't know. And I found out like during trial and error, which you just don't want to do. And so I'm making this video to share some things that I wish I had known about myomectomy recovery, in hopes that it helps someone who's also preparing to like go through this process. Unlike my first round of weekly recap where I didn't have any notes, I do have me some notes this time because y'all know I'm forgetful. I wish I had a better memory, but I don't. And so I got little notes. But anyway, side note, I will be back with weekly recaps. Life was just life in last week and I didn't get around to it, but I'm gonna work on being consistent with that. So weekly recap coming later on this week. Anyway, some things that I wish I had known about myomectomy recovery. So just some information. I shared this already on Threads and on Instagram, so this isn't like new information. So I went in and I had fibroids, of course, which I did know about, but in the process of getting my fibroids removed, the doctor discovered that I had a hernia. The doctor discovered that I had also had an area of endometriosis, which was like very mind-blowing to me. So one of the things that I wish I had known or thought of is the idea that there could be more things discovered in the process of getting like my fibroids removed. So in total, I had about 7 medium to large fibroids removed and then 12 smaller ones removed, for a total of 19 fibroids. And then I had an area of endometriosis, which none of us knew about, which she did remove. And then I had a hernia. You know, the thing about the hernia is that I have been having like a little funny feeling on my belly button. But I was like, I'm gonna deal with the fibroids first and then I'll deal with this later. You know, it wasn't like an urgent thing. And so I don't know how I got a hernia, where it came from, whatever, but just know that in the process of getting a myomectomy, the doctor could discover something else in there and have to remove it, which brings me to my second point. Be prepared to potentially have to spend more money than you planned. So I thought I had paid my bill and I was good to go, but because the doctor did have to remove some additional things, I got an extra bill. So just like have a little extra coin set aside or have some space on your credit card, whatever, because that is a possibility, not a guarantee, but a possibility. And that's not something I thought about at all. Thankfully, I was in a position financially to pay for it, but just something to be aware of. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I really underestimated how painful the recovery was going to be. I think, you read and they say like you take 4 to 6 weeks to heal, and you will need to rest. And the first day you want to have someone with you, but it doesn't really, like, reading those things on Google or on WebMD or on the paperwork that the doctor gave me really didn't mentally, emotionally prepare me for like how much pain I experienced. When I tell you, there were times I was legit just like calling on the Lord to help me. And my partner, he was very helpful. He was doing everything he could, but these are things that are beyond his control, right? He can only help me walk to the bathroom so much. He can only bring me so much, right? He can only make sure I take my medicine so often, right? So I was not prepared for how painful it was. I very much thought this would be like, I'm gonna lay and I'm gonna have a little pain, but the medicine will cover it, and then I'm just gonna lay down on my couch or on my bed and I'm gonna heal. But it was a lot more painful than that, and for a number of reasons. Which brings me to like my next thing that I wish I had known. Listen, the gas is bad. So my surgery was laparoscopic and hysteroscopic. I might be saying that second one wrong, but most of it was laparoscopic. Laparoscopic is where they take the instruments and they put them through your abdominal area and they pull them out through your abdominal area. The hysteroscopic part was going through the vagina. That was very minimal, but the laparoscopic part, they do tell you that there's going to be gas, but not the kind of gas that I experienced, to where it was hard to sit up, it was hard to stand, it was hard to lay, it was hard to do everything. I have 3 incisions, which I recently learned. I knew I had 3 incisions, but I didn't know what the incisions were for. I have 4 incisions in total, and when I went to my doctor for my post-op the other week, she was saying that 3 of the incisions is where she put the tools in, and then 1 of the incisions is where they pulled all the 19 fibroids, the endometriosis, the hernias, where they pulled them out, which is in my navel. So there's 4 areas where there's like air coming into your body and it fills you up. And when I Googled and was reading it, they mentioned like I may have some pain in my shoulder because of gas from laparoscopic surgery. I didn't get no pain in my shoulder. That doesn't mean you won't, but I just had pain in my back, my stomach. Like, it was just really, really bad. And so I underestimated this gas component. Make sure you have Gas X or some sort of like gas helping medication. That's not that they're not going to prescribe that, so just make sure you have that over the counter already at your house. I did not, and my partner had to go get me some, but I had to endure a certain time period without, and it was so agonizing. I just gotta say, like, so the gas is a real thing. Please have some Gas X. Be prepared for how painful that can be. The next thing is, without giving too much information, just know that it's possible to have unexpected swelling. So you will have swelling that is expected. You're going to be bloated, like I mentioned, the gas. You're going to have swelling where your incisions are, but just know that there are other areas of your body that can swell, and that might freak you out a little bit. It definitely freaked me out. I was definitely like emailing my doctor, sending pictures like, what is going on? Knowing this is not mentioned on Google, on my web researching, what is happening. So you can experience swelling in your vaginal area, and it's can freak you out. So, and along with, like, of course they tell you to wear compression socks, at least in the hospital, to make sure like your legs and stuff don't swell, but you can have swelling in unexpected places, and I just want you to be prepared for that, because I was not prepared for that, and it really messed with me. And speaking of compression socks, so they'll give you compression socks at the hospital that you can take home, but I recommend that you have all the different sorts of compression garments. I really didn't grasp this concept until I was in the midst of recovery, thanks to some people like sending me messages. One of my homegirls mentioned getting some Skims, but I didn't know why. Like, it didn't connect for me. She didn't give me like details or anything on like what the benefits were. I ordered the Skims, but they came later. So like, Compression socks are good to have, even additional ones. I travel long distance travel with compression socks. I started doing that recently, so I have compression socks at home. But like shapewear, I'm not a shapewear, I don't really wear a lot of shapewear, so I didn't have any. But like any sort of like girdle. Some hospitals may send you home with an abdominal binder. Apparently, I was supposed to be sent home with an abdominal binder, but I was not. I ordered one on Amazon, but it actually really did not interact well with my incision on my navel, so I sent it back. But that may not be the case for you. But just like compression underwear, compression socks, compression tops, whatever, like just to compress and help with the swelling that you will experience, and will help with like getting your body back to where you want it to be. I mentioned in a few videos ago how I was like struggling with like body image and looking at myself as I was healing, because I was just swollen and I didn't like it. But the compression garments are very helpful with that. As well as just like helping with the pain and stuff like that. The other thing that is going to be helpful, and I didn't know I was going to need it, but thankfully I did, is ice packs. I have ice packs. I have the kind that you freeze and you put in lunch kit, because I work, and I go to picnics and stuff for my job sometimes. But I also have the ice pack bag, just because, we may like hurt our knee running or something. So just having ice packs is going to be invaluable for you as you recover from this procedure as well. And then I did not, and I'm still struggling with this a little bit, like I was not prepared for like how much my back would hurt. There's like this correlation between when having the surgery, your abdominal muscles are weakening, so your back muscles are doing more work. You're also sitting in a bed a lot. You can only lay on your back. I am a sideways sleeper, but I couldn't sleep on my side for a good amount of time. And I still just recently started sleeping on my side, and it's kind of painful a little bit. Just depends on the moment. So just a lot of like sitting up to eat, but you can only do so in the bed, and so I recommend a few things, or really just two things. One, make sure you have some icy hot, it helps. Two, have a heating pad. I slept on a heating pad a lot. So 3 things. I didn't have this, but I wish I did. One of those back pillows, with the little arm. My mom has these at home, and I should have asked her for one, but I didn't know I would need it until I was already in the throes of stacking pillows on my bed. But it would have been helpful to have that support. So I recommend like one of those, like it's like a little triangle with the little arms. I'll put a link for one I found on Amazon. But I recommend that. And because you're also just going to be sitting a lot, like sitting, you can't lay the whole time. You're going to need to sit up, and you're going to need that support because you don't have the strength physically to do so. And so, but I wasn't prepared. No one talked to me about that, and so I wasn't prepared for that. And so now that I am starting to be more active, walking more. I can't run yet. I really want to run, but can't run yet. But walking more, starting to do some modified exercises. I am building my strength, but it was really painful in my lower back, and I wish I had like that. The other thing, these are things that are like not physical, but some things that I experienced and hope that it'll help you as you prepare for your myomectomy. One is like, do not feel bad. Do not hesitate to accept or ask for help. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I struggle with asking for help in life. Like, I just feel like I need to figure stuff out. I struggle with like feeling like I'm a burden, or can be like an extra task, for people. I'm working on it. I'm better than I used to be, but so I am naturally that person. Like, that is just who I am. I feel like I don't want to be in anyone's way or be a burden in any way. But in this instance, like, I had to push myself to say, hey, can you help me go to the restroom? Can you help me walk? Can you bring me this? Can you bring me that? Especially if you're a person who is like a giver or naturally a caretaker. I am a caretaker. Even when I was in high school, my mom has had lupus since I was like 9, and when I was in high school, I would miss school to take care of her. Like I am a caretaker person. That's who I kind of person. When I like you, I don't like you, I don't love you. Like that's different. I'm a different person. But so that was like something that I really had to like work on, and I probably should have prepared myself to work on doing that or being able to do that mentally. And so just make sure that you are at a point where you can accept help and be willing to ask for help. Also, like, do not hesitate to ask questions, like before surgery, after surgery, whatever. Like you can bother, you pay the doctor, so like bother them. I know Dr. Holtz, she's great, and her nurse, they probably were tired of me, but I had questions, like, because there were things happening that were not showing up in my Google research or in the little paperwork they gave me, and I didn't understand like what was going on in my body. And I Googled as much as I could before I asked, but like I made sure that I asked questions because I needed to know what was happening, and I couldn't just act like it was normal or this is what it was supposed to be because I didn't know what was going on. So please advocate for yourself. Please ask questions. Also, one thing I didn't do is initially when I was in the hospital, I was supposed to have to like pass gas and be able to walk or something to be discharged. That didn't happen. They just went ahead and discharged me, and I should have advocated to make sure that they followed that protocol, and that's on me. So lastly, I would say is just like you want to make sure you have people around you who are going to be supporting you, because you know in the first week or so you're going to need like some physical help. So I don't know if you need to recruit some friends or family. Thankfully, I have a partner, and he was down for the cause to take care of me when I really like couldn't take care of myself and like look out for myself, walk myself, all those things. But so you want to make sure you have that set up if you don't have an in-home situation. Even if you have an in-home situation, you want to make sure you have a dialogue about like what's to be expected. So I don't think that neither of us like quite expected me to have experienced the pain that I did, and so have that conversation. But also, even though you may have people around you, there will be times where you are up in the middle of the night and other people are asleep, and you could feel very like isolated and alone, and that could be very challenging. So like I don't think I expected the emotional aspect of what of the recovery process. Like there were just all these different emotions I felt, moments of feeling very alone and lonely and isolated in my experience. Moments of feeling like very frustrated by even having to experience the experience, having to go through that. And so like just make sure that you are grounded and you have emotional support, whether that is a prayer life, whether that is friends, whether that is reading, meditation. I don't know what you personally do. For me, like prayer was very, very key for me, but along with just like communicating to my partner when I did have feelings of frustration or sadness, even though I ain't gonna lie, I did a lot of crying just because into myself, because I just didn't know. I was just laying up in the middle of the night by myself in pain and not wanting to be like, oh, wake up, I'm in pain. Like, so there's just like all these different things that I wasn't emotionally prepared to experience and deal with. And so I hope that by sharing my experience, you'll feel a little more prepared for that component of it as well. And then my last thing is just to tell you, like, to give yourself grace and be patient with yourself. Make sure that you take time to heal. Do not let your job rush you back to work if you have the benefit of doing so. I am thankful for benefits and salary and employment and a job to go back to in about a week. That allowed me to comfortably recover without like worrying about how I'm going to, pay for bills or fund whatever my life. So hopefully you have that ability as well. And if you do not rush yourself. Do not feel like that job is gonna be okay. Do not rush yourself back to work. Allow your body to fully heal, because even when you start to feel better, like I've been driving for a few weeks, but your body is still healing. There's still things that I used to do 2 months ago that makes me feel a little more tired than it did now than it did then, right? Like, so you still need to rest. And also, yes, you have the recovery is said to be 4 to 6 weeks, but it actually takes longer. Like my 3 incisions I mentioned where she put the tools in are pretty healed. I've been cocoa buttering them up so that they can like blend in with my skin. However, my incision in my navel area is still pretty tender. Like it hurts to touch it in certain ways, or if my cat steps on my stomach in a certain way, it hurts. And that's because my doctor said that's where the actual fibroids and everything was pulled out of, and that one's going to take longer to heal, right? Or your uterus is still healing. Yes, I am up and moving around, but my uterus is not done healing. It's not back to 100%. So like allow yourself and allow your body to heal. I do hope this video was helpful and helps you to feel more prepared for having a myomectomy than I was. I want to take a moment before I close out this video to say thank you to the people who, like I'm about to get emotional, but the people who took the time to send me messages and share your own experiences and give me tips and pray for me and check on me. Like, it's really crazy how strangers can be so kind. But it really means a lot, and I'm very grateful. And I hope that if you have to experience a myomectomy, that you have people who you know or who you don't know in real life or on the internet who take the time to check on you and make sure you're okay and let you know that they're thinking of you and give you tips. And I hope this video helps with some tips as you go through the process. If you have additional questions about having a myomectomy, sorry y'all, I had shed me a little thug tear because I really am touched by the kindness of people, and especially people who don't know me or don't know me in real life at all. That really just touches me a lot. But anyway, if you have questions about having a myomectomy, about the experience, about the recovery, I'm no doctor, but I am willing to share about my experience, just because I definitely could have used to know someone to share some more of their experience with me, and people did, like, once they knew I was having it. But I want to be able to be a support for people. So if you have questions, you can drop them in the comments, or you can send an email to me, Raquel@considermelovely.com. Put myomectomy questions in the subject line so I'll know what I'm getting into when I open it. But I hope that you all found this video helpful, and I'll be back later on this week with a weekly recap, which I'm looking forward to doing and sharing other stuff with you all. So thank you for watching, and good luck if you are preparing for a myomectomy of your own.